हेलो हेलो हेलो।
सर ने आपको ग्रीटिंग्स किया।
सो नाइस।
ये लगा दे रहा हूँ, बाकी इसको बंद कर दिए रहूँगा भी। आप
जब इसके बाद
ये वाले से भी काम चलाइएगा। सर चैनल का लिंक मैं दे दूँगा, फिर भी डाल दिया किन लोगों को प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। बैठिए सर। ये वाले माइक पे हेलो। आप सभी का फिर से स्वागत है। संचालन पुरातत्व अभिलेखागार एवं संग्रहालय रायपुर द्वारा आयोजित इस 7 दिवसीय कार्यशाला का आज तीसरा दिन है और इसका दूसरा सत्र यानी कि इस कार्यशाला का 6वां सत्र हम थोड़ी देर में प्रारंभ करने जा रहे हैं। दर्शक दीर्घा में डॉक्टर परिहार मैडम हमारे बीच उपस्थित हुई हैं। मैडम ने खास करके दक्षिण कौशल के जो अभिलेख हैं उन पे बहुत अच्छा काम किया है। आपके ग्रंथ भी प्रकाशित हैं जिनका छात्र और शोध छात्र दोनों बराबर लाभ उठाते हैं। और मैडम आप आज पहली बार आ रही हैं तो थोड़ा सा मैं पूर्व पीठी के रविशंकर सर ने बच्चों को बताया और आपको ये बताना चाहेंगे कि कुल 118 बच्चों ने इसमें पंजीयन कराया है, जिसमें से बहुत कम बच्चे ऑफलाइन मोड में यहाँ उपस्थित हैं, ज़्यादातर बच्चे ऑनलाइन मोड में प्रेजेंट हो रहे हैं। ब्राह्मी, अशोकन ब्राह्मी और बाद में आज शुंग पीरियड की ब्राह्मी में उसमें जो आकारों की बनावट में जो समय सापेक्ष और क्षेत्र के सापेक्ष जो बदलाव आ रहे हैं उनके विकास क्रम के बारे में रविशंकर सर ने हमारे बच्चों को बतलाया है और हम लोगों को बहुत खुशी है कि आप हमारे बीच आज उपस्थित हुई हैं। और इसके साथ ही मैं रविशंकर सर से अनुरोध करूंगा कि आज लिपि और भाषा, ये जो लेखन कला के दो महत्वपूर्ण आयाम हैं, इस विषय पर हमारे इस कार्यशाला के प्रतिभागियों को बताने का कष्ट करेंगे। आदरणीय रविशंकर सर।
Respected madam, really we are blessed to have your presence here. In fact, on the inaugural day, there was much expectation. There were many other scholars also. Maybe due to your different preoccupations, you couldn't be present. Anyway, it's really blessing for all the other participants you are amidst us. And your contribution in promoting epigraphical studies is something great. And hope our students also continue the same tradition which you have set up, maybe here or Amarkantak, many other universities which are nearby. In fact, I had a very strong desire. And once you created, even within a very short time, interaction with your students when I came some years before. So I was thinking of having a full-fledged workshop. Of course, Singh Saab bhi bataya hai, the main purpose, the object behind this, not to have a focus only on a particular script or language. It is to create an awareness, vast awareness among the students, how rich our Indian subcontinent, whether from north to south or east to west, the hundreds and thousands of inscriptions. And if at all, volumes and volumes of books on different dynasty could be written, it is because through the source, through the epigraphical source. So today, I am making a blend of both epigraphical study as well as paleographical study, partly to remove the monotony of always teaching the script. So they should know the script as well as the contents and other aspects connected. And mainly I am preparing them in future to edit some inscription, to take away, not merely to read. When they come across with the original source material, they should be able to independently handle and start writing using the original sources. Secondary sources, to hai. They are writing a lot of research papers and bringing them together, reviewing and writing. But there is a need, again I am telling, a need of a very sound epigraphist. There were time when we had, each university had a very eminent professor. Sagar University, we had K.D. Bajpai, and you go to the Shobhana Gokhaleji, and many name, some 40 years before when I used to go on my epigraphical survey, it was a great privilege to meet some professors, to interact with them. At least wherever, if it is some headquarters, right from Haryana to Himachal to Kashmir, any part of the country, if that department is there, I used to interact with them and take some time also because since our stampage mechanic was with me, if some nearby or in the department itself, if they had a stone, inscribed stone or copper plate, because material is already there, I used to give a demonstration also within the limited time and explain them what our epigraphical survey means, how to conduct. See, I told yesterday, each department has its own way of carrying out. Horticulture department has its own area, the museum, the ASI, various branches have their own system. And since our branch also more than 135 years old, if the ASI, the main headquarters was established in 1861, our branch was established in the year 1887. The first government epigraphist was Hulsch, a German scholar. Sometime I will take tomorrow or day after tomorrow to tell about how we used to carry out our epigraphical survey. And in the course of my talk, repeatedly I was mentioning about the script and languages. Both are absolutely essential, just like two faces of a coin. So, in this context, let's take a quick look, including the South. Already told, the Brahmi as such has a very long history of evolution, Brahmi and its derivatives. Here, preferably I would like to move on next to the Kushan paleographical features. Before that, let me see how far we can go with these scripts and languages. It's absolutely essential to know some of the basic facts connected with these scripts. So the history of decipherable epigraphy, that's what Dr. Ramesh stars in his book, Indian Epigraphy, begins with the Mauryan records. Now, I told periodically we have to revise our views. Some scholars would have written some 25, 35 years, but there is a need to update our knowledge. To some extent, I am lagging in that. many facts are there, whether connected with archaeology, because somewhere, whether in the south or north, excavations are going on. Many a time, engraved material, that is, epigraphs do come. If not, yes, absolutely, some historical even period, you get a lot of seals and sealing. That way, I am very proud this Chhattisgarh has immensely given to the scholars a large number of sealings, ranging from early to the early medieval period or so. So the Brahmi, so the history of decipherable epigraphy begins with the well-known records of Mauryan emperor, the Brahmi script. The problem regarding the origin, yesterday I gave a separate presentation on both on Brahmi as well as the Kharoshthi script. Now I am not going into those details, but something to say about the highlights, the importance connected with each script. So it exercised the minds of several scholars during last century and a half, ever since its successful decipherment by James Prinsep. So different scholars have expressed different views about the origin of Brahmi script. See, I told it is looking at both the literary sources as well as the archaeological sources. The foremost comes to more than the Jaina, the Buddhist works stands out prominently, and Samavangana Sutra, Pandavana Sutra, of course these are the Jain works, and the Buddhist work, Lalita Vistara, I have been mentioning how very first in the series and followed by Kharoshthi and many more names they do occur. So normally, madam, I have been doing this. At the end of each session, our Singh Sahib will summarize the whole contents in a beautiful manner in Hindi. So to not get stuck thinking of some words here and there, so I am carrying out my talk in English. But for the benefit of the students, our Singh Sahib will give a summary at the end of each session. So this Prakrit word, Bambi, it is not Brahmi. Brahmi is a Sanskritized. So the Prakrit term is Bambi, Brahmi, and this again, mainly I did this many years before for the benefit of IIT students at Gandhinagar, one at Kharagpur also. There was they wanted to know about the script and languages. I was telling when a social media person came here, there should be a paper on heritage, which can include heritage of sculpture, architecture, epigraphical heritage, irrespective of the stream. Let them be from business management or medicine or engineering. So a monument, only a certain section of research students, they don't go. But as a tourist, anybody will see. And the basic thing, if they don't know, they are bound to miss a lot. So this is normally a Rumindi pillar inscription, which we begin. In fact, I didn't show this in the morning. So it's very easy for each one of you to decipher this. and to some extent it's doctored. Yes, it is for a beginner, just as a first lesson, we do this. And this to show way back in, of course, more than a decade before, students of Benares Hindu University, Basaha, and the first monograph was Professor K.K. Taplial wrote on this, and subsequently when it came to the notice of Dr. K.V. Ramesh, both myself and he, we re-edited. Re-edited means our own observations, very small observations we had to incorporate in Epigraphia Indica. We revived the Epigraphia Indica only to again not to restart. So that is for the 158th year of Archaeological Survey of India. Then the Director General, Professor Sen Gupta ji, wanted, Ravi Shankar, we have to revive the old ancient India or Epigraphia Indica, all these publications. So with that intention, we bought only a part of the Epigraphia Indica, giving altogether new series, not to continue because it was discontinued for many years. So we thought we should have this. Yes, there is no dearth for scholars. Madam is there. There are many scholars are there who can contribute. But due to some reason or the other, we could not again take up the editing of the Epigraphia Indica series. That's another issue. So in that context, and in the entire service, there are so many other Brahmi Ashokan edicts are there, which I too have seen. But this is something unique. The day I visited, fortunately, Dr. Mani Saab, B.R. Mani, also visited. He was ADG at that time. And I too had gone with the photographer and some one or two, one team, small team. It was a very difficult task for me to reach this part because it was mid-June like this. It was too hot. And we had to take a little elevation or that to reach. It is just like that. When we reached, there is a huge boulder, and where we had to pass that and take a view of the main edict. So the passage was so narrow, one have to hold the boulder and go. I was a bit hesitant. It's just like to see God reaching 99 steps and one step left to see the Teki Darshan. So I told I will not go. After reaching such a distance all the way, they told, sir, all of us will stand below. If you fall on us. No problem, we will take care. Don't. So then difficult we could pass on, have a view, and there was some controversy also. They told it might be at some point of later time they would have got it. But both Manisar and we were convinced it is original minor rock edict 1 on the way to Sahasram or whatever. And the scenario is such, when you see the edict, at least 40 to 50% can sit and listen. And there must be some educated person who can convey to the layman what the contents. See, the choosing of the place is unique. Like as you see in the Jogimara, Sitabanga, like amphitheater where one can visit and see and enjoy these things. So the location they chose I think they had a purpose behind, and they could utilize the natural source to engrave, and this is on the estampage. And estampaging was a very difficult task because it's too hot. When you pour water on it, it immediately absorbs. The moment you put, पानी पीने के लिए नहीं, इसको estampage कैसे लेंगे? We were all dehydrated. सो उसको किसी तरह वो थोड़ा करके स्टैम्प बेच लिया. दिस इज़ वेरी यूनिक experience in my career as an epigraphist. It's always, I do remember, and also recount my experience with both of the participants when I give a talk on this. Because rest are their routine, copying inscription here and there, it is there. But certain events, it remain deeper in your psyche. We always have to remember that such unique opportunities. So further to continue, yesterday also I mentioned, there is a Chinese encyclopedia, Wan Shulin. It is of 7th century Common Era, where it mentions about Brahmi script, and it is also mentioned the direction left to right, and invented by Fan. I told you Fan is Chinese language, Brahma. So it's popularly accepted and established that script employed by Ashoka was Brahmi to engrave his edicts for the benefit of Buddhist monks. He employed Prakrit language in 3rd century BC. Hence, the followers of Buddhism and Jainism used the Prakrit language for several centuries. It seems to be responsible for the origin and widespread use of the script in the country. That's what we have to. This only, I'm not going deeper, as I told, there are many things to be said. So next time coming to the Kharoshti, which already have also given, even up to the late Brahmi phase. So this another major script prevailed again in 3rd century BC, Kharoshti, and I couldn't access a better record at that point of time. This is one lion in Junagadh Museum. It's preserved, having inscription in Kharoshti. As you know, it's written, we have to read from right to left. There are many good records. When you see even the best would have been the Mansehra and Shabas Garhi. They are very good, and there are many ways inscription. I told you, please refer to the CI volume, Corpus Inscriptionum Indicarum volume 2, part 1. So besides Brahmi, Ashokan records are found in Aramic and Greek. I could not support this with the photographs. I will try to incorporate in the next show. So the Aramic Greek scripts are used in edicts found in Afghanistan, and one in Taxila, now in Pakistan, is supposed to be Aramic script. Aramic and its derivative, I should say the later. He got it Aramic, and as you all know, the immediate next script from which it derived, Kharoshti, is on the Aramic script of North Semitic origin. So Kharoshti is a modification of the Aramic script introduced in the Uttarapatha region of India when it was under the control of Persia before Alexander's invasion. So like Aramic, Kharoshti was written from right to left and used in the rock edicts of Ashoka found at Mansehra and Shabas Garhi in Pakistan, and further the northwestern part of Ashoka's domain is the dominion or kingdom. After Ashoka, the use of Kharoshthi script spread to Mathura region and was prevalent in the ancient province of Gandhara. That's also called Gandhari script. Up to 2nd century Common Era, used by the this Kushans, later Kushan. But unfortunately, after the 3rd century Common Era, Kharoshthi did not survive in India. It went to Central Asia. This script went outside India, used in Chinese Turkestan for about a century later. It did not survive in India longer. Possibly it was not found suitable. No, here I have to correct it. Not Prakrit, mostly the Sanskrit language. It was Prakrit already there to write. In all probability, to write Sanskrit, slight modification need to be made in this late. So, Brahmi script during Ashoka survived in India for centuries. It became the mother of all modern scripts, both northern as well as southern, and also scripts of Southeast Asia. This have been again I'm telling whenever we talk of its derivatives. So, contemporary, when we move for some time, we will go back to the other part, the South Indian context, let us see. North is there. In the South India, 2 regions, one is Andhra Pradesh and another is Tamil Nadu. So they too had in the same period a similar script with a lot of variations. Of course, that is from very early Brahmi script, which are very distinct in content forms when compared to the Ashokan Mauryan Brahmi. So, Bhattiprolu is volume 2, I think, Epigraphy Indica, a detailed account you find. It is from Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh, which presents certain peculiar features of, because whether the engraver did it differently, why, if it is an accepted script like that, why we don't have some more of the similar nature? It's very ambiguous, because only one stands out as a unique, different script, and similar period, why did not they use in the following period, or at least in the same area, some more script that was employed in the Bhattiprolu? So this a question to be, even I have been probing or pondering, but I am not getting exactly what it is, how it should be answered. And especially from Andhra, they take it as a benchmark, the beginning, and they derive the development, other things, they connect it with the Bhattiprolu. Of course, there are Ashokan edicts also, Eragudi, other edicts are there, but Shivaram Murthy also has given a special place in his writing to his Bhattiprolu writing. So it may be noted that the archaic Tamil, I am briefly touching of a very early Brahmi found in the caves Tamil Nadu as early as the 4th century BC. Now excavations have revealed still further, maybe 5th century, they date to the Kiredi excavations. So this is one such record. Arichan, there are many. If you travel, if you go around Kerala, bordering Kerala and Tamil Nadu, there are many Tamil Brahmi inscriptions. Earlier, Airavata Mahadevan, an IAS officer, he wrote initially a book on that. I think later years he brought a further collection and revised it with a lot of notes. Someone deeply interested to know much about the Tamil Nadu, Tamil Brahmi, I personally feel they should refer this book, a book written by Airavata Mahadevan, who has also done immense work in the area of Indus seals and the concordance he has brought. But utilizing all the expertise and knowledge by K.V. Subramaniar and many Tamil scholars, Airavata Mahadevan has brought a good concordance. I think one should read. I also not gone deeper into that. As I told you, it's very difficult to master the South Indian region and again the North. It's a very vast area when it comes to. So yes, one should know in little more detail, because it's not that difficult. You know the basic forms. It's only a little more understanding. You can read, decipher. It's not difficult. So this mostly they are of Jaina in origin. When they got excavated, the beds and all, most of the Tamil Brahmi inscriptions are purely connected with the Jains. And the post-Maurya Kushan, which of course I did dealt in the morning about the Shungas. So the one record, of course, not today, tomorrow I'm going to take up, the Shaka Kshatrapas, that is Kshatrapas. When you look into that, exactly somewhere in 2nd century BC itself, the Kushans also dominated. They had a vast area. And the Shaka Kshatrapas also simultaneously they were ruling. But the Kushan somehow they retained most of the Ashokan, Mauryan forms in the writing with very modifications they did. Even Kshatrapas, yes, they with the pen technique, you find a thorough change, lengthening the verticals and the head mark, all started appearing at different point of time. So the pen technique, and this is the one, I hope you can see. Laser. Anyway, this is the. See here, this is the Srivatsa symbol, and you can see here Swamisya Mahakshatrapasya Shondasasya Ganjavarasya Brahmanasya. So it's a Sanskrit record, but you can see how there is a thorough change in the system of writing when compared to the Mauryan. You see each letter, suppose you take Sa, I will later explain you when I go with the paleographical aspects, but I want to take a look at this, how nicely they have. In fact, this is one of the inscriptions I also chose to show the calligraphical elements in Sanskrit inscription, though early period. So I could, in fact, I began with the Rumindi pillar inscription. The calligraphy means the script which looks beautiful. For some time you forget the Arabic and Persian. The sense, people are under the impression the calligraphy means Arabic Persian. That is another calligraphy. But if you look into the dictionary, any script that looks beautiful. So when you see the Rumindi, can't you see they have maintained the space, the length of the letters, and between the letters, everything, so beautifully carved. So why can't it be a beginning in the calligraphy. Even box-headed characters, it's calligraphy. Nail-headed, these are the different systems. Perhaps no other epigraphs offer so much of variety. But it's long, we associate calligraphy with Arabic, Persian only, their way of writing. Yes, that they developed on its own. But as part of the 150th year, we arranged one calligraphy exhibition of Sanskrit in 5 different major cities of India, right from Srinagar to different parts. We were asked to choose. I chose particularly from 6th to 8th century, where Siddhamatrika and its further development, even little early Nagari also, they had a lot of calligraphical elements. This will be a very good research for students who want to look into this. The copper plates, the stone inscription, 6th to 8th century is a wonderful phase to make one aspect the calligraphical elements or whatever you call it, the engravers in that 2 centuries, later it settled in a particular mode. But those inscriptions which are between these 2 periods is really very good. One can take up that area, maybe Madhya Pradesh itself, copper plates as well as the stone inscription. So this is the thing. When I do with the Shaudasha or Kshatrapa, again we will take up this for decipherment. Now I will just show you this one. And this is the Mathura inscription of Huvishka in Kushan, early Brahmi again. It's a very long record. This all from the facsimiles, the earlier one also from the stone. This Mathura inscription of Huvishka. So Dani states that the new writing tool comprised of a sharp-edged pen, which I told already. Due to this and also due to the fact that more and more private individuals, keep in mind, it's not only the rulers, besides the royal persons, took mode of writing, a noticeable change in the development. That's why earlier inscriptions were limited. When the private agencies and travelers and tourists is one of the reasons of the proliferation of more and more inscriptions. And the trend to donate, give either to a temple or a Buddhist monastery or a Jaina temple. So the donations, everybody wanted to mention. But when you look at the Hindu philosophy, they say they used to remain, they used to do dharma, but nowhere they mention their names or anything. But here, it's quite to that. Yes, for the benefit of the epigraphists, I think for us, they left us these records. Otherwise, it's quite contrary to our system. Nobody will say, I have done this much, I have done that. Perhaps they wanted to know the future generation, the merit for which have done, you should also do that. Maybe for that sake, as this one, they said, I have done myself for my own merit and the merit of my parents and other relatives too. Hita Sukhaya. Hita Sukhaya, they say. So this use of edge pen, so I told already, see, you must start reading the Dani's book, Indian Calligraphy, as well as Indian epigraphy, दोनों साथ साथ में रख के पढ़ना चाहिए आपको to gain some introduction about epigraphy as well as paleographical aspects. Because I am just giving only something, little, but for a deeper understanding of the subject, you have to read. Yes, some concepts remain as it is. It takes time. See, I have read many times Dani's book. If I read it now, today, I think the amount of information are there, what a depth, they have given. It looks, we have to refresh. I do read whenever come for any refresher or any sort of workshop, I read it. Again, maybe many times, but every time I read it, something new I get. So that is their scholarship and the deeper insights, they have given to the thoughts. So the further Kushan, maybe first and second, the styles of writing, post-Kushan period. A distinguishing feature, the head mark. This is very important. A serif or a head mark, how later it developed. Earlier it was an unconscious way of just when they held the pen, some sort of head appeared, little mark, but later they developed this as a style with a thick head mark or with a box head or nail head. It is a subsequent development. Earlier they were not very conscious to make head mark. They were to just draw the stroke. And the advantage what they see, the alignment of the letters. When you put a head mark, they could place the letter in the same sequence, in the same alignment. Otherwise, if one letter will go up and down, why you write in a ruled letter, ruled pad? Of course, you can write there in other, it will go here and there. Why ruling? Why that we use? Because to maintain uniformity in our writing. So this head mark gave they have to start exactly and give this one. And next is the Gupta script, which we'll be dealing in the course of tomorrow, day of tomorrow, something. So the next stage in the development, which is called the late Brahmi, noticed in the kings of Gupta dynasty and their contemporaries who belong to 4th to 6th century. We'll try to decipher also sometime. And this is a section of the Allahabad pillar inscription, very well known. I was mentioning on the first day, or the second day perhaps, when we take as a case study how it is rich in every respect of the term. You can see unfortunately, vandalism is not something new. Even earlier people, medieval period also, wherever they had some space between Ashokan or this Gupta, they recorded many medieval period inscriptions also. But the scholars have observed it has not affected the historicity or the historical information contained in the Allahabad Prashasti. And it should be preserved in the way required. Late Brahmi, he calls it early Brahmi, from 3rd century BC to 3rd century Common Era, we call it early Brahmi. There's actually 2nd to 3rd, there's to call middle Brahmi. Later D.C. Sarkar and all, they gave up that. So while writing the annual report, either we mention early Brahmi or late Brahmi, that middle Brahmi is not figuring, though earlier paleographers, they used that middle Brahmi stage. So the Gupta northern and southern variety I will show when I take up the Gupta script, though not the many varieties, at least the prominent varieties of Gupta script, which you can try to read, decipher. So scripts in the post-Gupta period, we have this 6th to 8th, 10th century. North India were written in scripts which were called by different names. Since the letters begin to incline from right to left, resulting in the formation of acute angle on the right end of some of the letters, the script came to be called Fleet and Bueller. They called it Kutila. Some scholars treat Kutila and Siddhamatrika are different. To me, they are one and the same. The features which are all, because many times, it remains unsettled. Even I want to write a little more detailed article about the early Nagari and the Siddhamatrika and the Kutila. Because in early Epigrapha Indica volumes, even early Nagari, which had some of the characteristic features of the Siddhamatrika, they just name it as early Brahmi only, early Nagari. So early Nagari to me is a progression where it did retain certain features like headmark and but a detailed study analysis is required. As far as this is concerned, I have been often confronted with this conflicting, because it's not settled clearly. Because the use of Siddhamatrika concept emerged little later, it seems, Kutila or Siddhamatrika. So by and large, even those inscriptions with much of calligraphical or which looked, they called it simply early Nagari. So that is a point we have to look into. Having examined many inscriptions, still I have to understand the clear distinction. It overlaps, in fact. From Siddhamatrika, it progressed to early Nagari, but it did retain certain features of the Siddhamatrika. The full-fledged Siddhamatrika, what you see in the Banskera, or with all the fully calligraphical elements, that is supposed to be the highest. See, it developed like a graph. Initially they started and it reached a peak. Again it started coming down with shedding some of the features. So it progressed to early Nagari. I hope Madam also agrees with this view. After examining, I have seen, it reached one top highest point, and then so then again it came down with some more features. That's what I feel. Yes, with much more supportive inscriptions, we have to substantiate this. That's what I intend to do. So this is the one, it is preserved in the Jnana Pravaha. We have Madhuban, Banskera, and this is the fourth one, I think. Yes. So you can see here the beautiful calligraphical element here. And this Swahasto Mama Maharajadhi Rajashri Harshasya. So beautiful. See here. Swa. See the points here. It's much more beautiful in Banskera or Madhuban. And here, no doubt you have retained this, but there it is still beautiful. Swahasto, see ha. Swahasto mama Maharajadhi Raja Shri Harshasya. So this one such record. I will explain when I take up tomorrow perhaps the Kutila script after the Gupta, because we have to cover many more areas in these 2-3 days, or rather, because when it started, appeared as though 7 days. Oh, we think 7 days. But when we think of the progress done, we are still somewhere in the early phase itself. But when we talk, oh, 7 दिन कैसे कटेंगे, हम कैसे बनाएंगे. But though we are engaged both the sessions in the morning and afternoon, कभी लोग बोलते आ रहा है यार 2 घंटे करके समाप्त कर दो, वैसे करेंगे, कितना कैसे पढ़ाएंगे. हाँ नहीं मैडम, ऐसा है ना, कभी कभी दूसरा रिसोर्स पर्सन बुलाना चाहिए. मेरा जो टीचिंग टेक्निक है वो अलग होता है. That can be a special lectures from other scholars. But when I teach, it should be one way. I connect you in one thread. When I deal from Kushan to Gupta, I connect you. But other perspective varies. When suddenly if I teach and stop with Gupta, Kushan, another resource person will come and teach Gupta. They also have different perspectives in understanding the subject and reading and taking you in one go. So I can connect you from the past to the script which I am dealing in small, minute details. So that's the reason I alone handle all these classes. Oh, yeah. So this is the thing, and now the Siddhamatrika, which and for the first time, Al-Benarini uses the term Siddhamatrika. Yes, the etymological meaning is still not clear, because the Kutila also figures in Deval Prashasti, and Siddhamatrika also comes. So we take from the late Brahmi the Siddhamatrika as one unit. From there, 3 major scripts comes. One is early Nagari, another is Sharda script, and the Proto-Bengali. So these are 3 recognized the branches from it comes off. Yes, Sharda and all these scripts, yeah, that Nagari, I am making it 2 halves here. I am touching the northern and then going to the south. But when you see from Siddhamatrika to this progression, they become very simple. They shed all the, the writing, the matras, or they become very simple way of straight. Whether you look into the Sharda script, or Proto-Bengali, or early Nagari. Early Nagari, of course, it retains some of the features of the Siddhamatrika. I consider this as 3 stages. One is early Nagari, and the Nagari, and Devanagari. So the subtle differences I have made when I closely examine how this can be 3 different units. Naturally, what you write now is Devanagari. Little earlier stages, we have this Nagari inscriptions. Early Nagari is definitely from 8th to end of 8th century, we have early Nagari, or even little earlier. But from 12th century, what you have this Pratihar, 12th to 13th century onwards, up to 14th, 15th century, we call this Nagari. And Devanagari is what at present we write, with the subtle differences. I don't say there are many major differences, but there are bound to be small differences. These three classifications I have noticed while though Nagari at the same time appears same, but subtle differences when we take that 400 or 500 years of records. Yeah. Yes. So this, when we move to the eastern side, the Gaudiya, Gauda Desha, why they call it Gaudiya? It's on the Gauda Desha. We call it Proto-Bengali script. It's again, they trace it from the Siddhamatrika. From 10th to 14th century, we have this inscription found in Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Orissa, and Nepal also. Nepal is, they have that, and little Nepal and the Tibetan, that is another very major script which holds great attachment. Like Mani Padme Om, when you see, it has a typical, you find Buddhist formulas written, but Tibetan script itself has a long association with the Siddhamatrika. So this from Umachal, from the eastern region here, when you see, this is the tiled Ma of the Gupta period, it entirely changes. You see the tail here attached here, tail. We call it tiled Ma. Maha, this is Ha is very subtly shown. Maharaja, Ja, here you see in the middle arm, they have extended to show this stroke above. Maharajadhi Raja Shri, this is Shri. And when I come to Gupta, I will show the eastern variety under the, just I am Surendra Varmana. This is Sa, we call it looped Sa. Like tiled Ma, looped Sa, looped Na, looped Ta. These are all we have to use while explaining the calligraphical aspects. For that, Dani, at the end of the, he has given a set of glossary terms. If you keep that separately as a handy book, you will come to know all the, right from Mauryan Brahmi to 12th century even further. Not only he has given the forms, and at the same time box-headed characters, or with the defined way, particular expressions are required. Of course, आप हिंदी में आप तर्जुम कर सकते हैं उसको. इसका 5th century, 5th Gupta characters. 5th century. This is the Surendra Varmana. This is one of the earliest inscription reported from Gauhat, the Assam region. Late Brahmi. Surendra Varmana Bhagavataha, see here. And very recently, I think yesterday, we celebrated this Ratha Yatra, and this mentions here. Yes, this is the earliest reference perhaps you would like to know. Here, Bhagavataha Balabhadra. See that Balabhadra is mentioned. Subhadra, of course, Krishna is not there, but Balabhadra name is here. That is the earlier usage in the northeastern region. The earliest epigraphical reference perhaps. Bhagavataha Balabhadra Swamineyaha Idam, this is vowel E. See, 2 dots here and 1 stroke. This Gupta variety, you get this. Idam Guham. They made a cave where perhaps they had a deity of Balabhadra. So this is the beautiful inscription representing the northern region, the northeastern region. Sir, there are plenty. You see, if you go to northeast itself, Tripura and now large number of inscriptions, Manipur for that matter. And the present day scholars, they are aware of the modern Manipuri. They don't know the ancient system of writing. Earlier scholars, they did, like Dharmeshwar Chutia. There were very famous persons were there, Phukan, many. But senior scholars are not there. To pass on that knowledge, what they learned, there is a very serious crunch of that area especially. Even when I visited, I copied 80 inscriptions from Manipur Museum, but I have bundled and kept it. I don't have that knowledge. See, somebody we require, to know that script. Yes, this is from Tripura, Ahom rulers. Don't you see the variety? We should not confine ourselves to one area. See the richness of the country, what it offers, whether from northeast to Kashmir, down south to central India. Many, many. At least you appreciate that. The varieties that is simply remarkable, no country can think of, have. So what happens, this is the motto which behind I took up this cause of taking the epigraphy, acquainting the students with different varieties. Yes, no dude, we have to focus only certain areas. When I saw they are going only with the Kannada inscriptions, only Tamil inscriptions. But the students are deprived of the richness what we have. At least you will see, if you are interested, you will access those books and read. At least we should show what the richness is. Isn't it? Coins. So many coins are there from Tripura. That's how our pranams to our DC Sarkar, he played, throughout, whether from northeast to the Kashmir, to the south, or the Pallavas, to the any period. I don't know how much time he had, how knowledge he gained access to. That too with authority you could write. Not simply a writing, with utmost. Nobody could challenge from any area his writing. That was the Yuga Purusha, I should say, of his caliber. There cannot be na bhuto na bhavishyati. We can tell that without any amount of, the day for an epigraphist starts with DC Sarkar. In some context, we have to refer his epigraphical glossary or his other work, Indian Epigraphy, if you have any doubt, or select inscriptions, or some article in Epigraphia Indica. When I surveyed, for Chhattisgarh, how many articles he has written, either with K.C. Balchandar, there is one great epigraphist from this Raipur, Balchandar, I think. So many he associated and produced a remarkable work. That's why he could go again back to as a Carmichael professor to the Calcutta University for some time. Again come back. Yes, there were external, academic discussions was to be there. When H.V. that Virashi used to write contradicting Sarkar, or Sarkar used to write, Altekar used to write, they had very great interactions in their own manner. So this, when we go to that Bengali, Proto-Bengali, we have this Gaya inscription of Narayana Pala. I was mentioning how to come to Brahmi. From the later inscription, they slowly arrived to different parts, come to the Gupta and then come to the Ashokan. So it is not from early to late. From late they started and slowly they reach to this point in the history. There is a history behind everything. So in the decipherment process, this is also one of the very important. So Kalinga script, in Orissa itself there are so many varieties, and this is the Nagari, Devanagari. Of course I have used this both, Siddhamatrika or early Nagari, but as per the scholars I have taken, Eastern Nagari, Uttar Pradesh, as Madam said, Nandi Nagari, I was mentioning, it evolves from little early, the Yadavas of Devagiri, Sevunas, or whomsoever I call, and the Vijayanagar rulers, they popularized. It's difficult, little, not difficult, but you have to, it's a system. Nandi Nagari script. Now, Devanagari used to writing Hindi all over India and also Sanskrit. That's what I say. This this I should have referred little earlier while arranging. It has gone the box edit. This is of very major importance to those who are here Chhattisgarh and especially. That's what next time I was telling, to go with an exclusive workshop on the box edit characters and nail headed, so that if I introduce in little more detail, I will be dealing. But even I have to make a study, because while preparing notes for the richness of this Chhattisgarh area, epigraphical, there are so many records, and when I was closely examining the facsimiles, there's so much of difference. From Vakatakas to there, how much modifications they made and differences. The length of the size of the box varies from several other dynasties. Madam? Yes, yes. Yes, yes. हम परसों एक लेक्चर देंगे इसके बारे में, not about the calligraphical aspect, but the historical, some inscriptions, just to show to our beginners. I even am little new to this, except I surveyed in this Bastar, Bilaspur, when our Rahulji was the curator at Bilaspur Museum. That is in early 80s. When even I too had joined the survey, maybe I was a little senior there. But Bastar I surveyed, but there is one district, Bijapur. The commissioner didn't allow me to go at all. It was so Naxalite, in fact, in the early 80s. They said the government officials should not travel. It was so much of this one. Similarly, I went to Etawah and other Uttar Pradesh. There is one Jaina ruins are there, but the commissioner or people who are give to security, वो मना किया. And similar experience I had in Manipur. आप आराम से टूरिस्ट तरफ जाइए, if you say you are a government officer, आपको बंद करेगा, उधर करेगा. Because this connects, now it may be different. I am speaking early years, some of the areas we had this problem of going deeper instead. वो बोल दिया आपको पास में बिठाएगा, चाय भी पिलाएगा, अब बाद में कुछ रैंसम मांगेगा, आपको अंदर जाना पड़ेगा इस तरफ. So this is experience many things. That we were working in some Bastar area. सर दोपहर 2 बजे हो गया, आप जल्दी जाइए, नहीं तो ये पकड़ेगा. अरे आप तो कॉपी तो करने दो. नो आप जल्दी जाइए सर. अरे बिना कैसे जाएंगे हम, तो बताओ जाओ. They created unnecessary, may be there or may not be there, but they created a sort of fear in us. But we could not complete our survey. Now, I think fairly better, it should be better, law and order situation and the control. And I think our archaeologists must be able to throw better light because they are all in this area. This I am talking of 80s, early 80. It was a problem. I see even children, village, when we used to take a jeep and go, he used to run away. Perhaps they would not have seen a vehicle, I think. Some deep interior of the village, they don't know. So the box-headed character, I will be doing at length. In Madhya Pradesh, Vakataka, the Sharabapura, and Kosala belong to the 4-7 special feature with head mark. So this is the one, Yavatmal plates of Pravarasena. Of course, I have tried to show you. There are many more records when I deal with these Chhattisgarh inscriptions. No. That's a developed way of Brahmi, but attaching a box above. When I write and show you, you will get to the clear picture. Otherwise, it's oh beautiful, no? Is it not a calligraphy? The maintaining one uniformity, beautiful. Anyway, this now let's take a quick look at the South Indian. We have dealt with the North, South Indian scripts. Yeah, mostly. Stones hai. I have not known this Vakatakas you have in Ajanta Ellora. Vakataka, when you see the inscriptions edited by V.V. Mirashi, he has included at the end some stone inscription which has some box. Yes, 99% they are copper plates. But perhaps they resorted to the without box in other stone inscriptions. Yes, as rightly observed, it is character because chiseling is easy in a copper plate. But वही box उसमें पत्थर पे खोदना थोड़ा मुश्किल है. The feasibility is much more in technique. So it's correct. But seals में मिलते हैं आपको. Seals and sealings में. Coins में है. Like Prasanna Matra, the gold coins and all, you get that. बोर तो नहीं लग रहा है? Let me tell something about the Tamil. I think for her it's a refresher. Of course, I have taught that many times. Of course, when I speak, I put some new things also. That's how one of the scholar participants refined. So many new things emerge when you are talking. I don't put in one form, and sometimes I add my experience. Sometimes other facts which tomorrow when I talk on the subject, it may be little different. That is the thing. So this record, the Tamil, these are the three scripts employed. One is Grantha, Tamil and Vattait. Why Grantha we employ? Because the basic factor is that in Tamil script you can't write Sanskrit. I told it is to write that it has a phonetic difference, everything, that's another issue. Mainly they adopted, of course, largely in copper plate and stone also, Grantha. Grantha script, with that you can write Sanskrit. When you see the Rajendra Chola, any copper plate inscription, the invocatory verse, जो संस्कृत में लिखते हैं, उसी ग्रंथ में लिखते हैं. Sometime you find, whenever they want to use Sanskrit, like Swahasto, Swahasta Paradattama, they could have easily translated to Hindi, Tamil, but they retained the Sanskrit portion as it is. So, whenever in a Tamil inscription they want to write Sanskrit, they use the Grantha script. And Grantha script as a manuscript, you have many, either from literature on medicine, many philosophical works. So the Grantha is a very popular in the archives, like when you go to ORI and many other places, they have a large collection of Grantha palm leaves written in Grantha. So here inscription also the same. Basically you can understand that to write Sanskrit they used Grantha script. Tamil script is Tamil. That is one thing, from 7th, 8th century you find usage. And earlier I was telling the Tamil Brahmi, that is a Tamil archaic script. It may be having some resemblance. It evolved from this only. But that what the Tamil Brahmi they used. Language also archaic Tamil. Script also in a way archaic. It's a lot differences there. And Vattelthu is a script. Vattelthu means in a circular way. Vattelthu, that is circular. That is, it goes in a round fashion. And for Malayalam, the origin of Malayalam script, they connect it to the Vattelthu script. What Malayalam, what now they are writing, it emerged from the Vattelthu script. So this basic thing you can remember. And this is the Tiruvandalur. This is a very, very important copper plate. I have shown one. This is the largest copper plate so far known. How many numbers? 93. Such a huge. If you go to Egmore, the Tamil Nadu State Government Museum, they have preserved this. It's a very huge, you can't shake, huge with a very seal, ring and all. Tomorrow or sometime I will explain the physical format, how it looks like. Now, this is how Tamil Tiruvandalur copper plate inscription. And the insignia, it always, the fish, stands for Pandya. So they kept under there, this one, Pandya tiger. Tiger, of course, it represents the Chola, this one, and the Pandya, Chera. Like this, it's how they kept under them. All this, that symbol represent the Chera, Chola and Pandyas. So Malayalam is a later, this one. So from south when we see, this is a Kannada inscription from Vadagiri. It's of Chalukya Vikramaditya of 10th, 11th century. Just to acquaint you how different scripts look like. You cannot specialize in all these things, but at least you know how different areas have, how a Grantha script look like, how Vattelthu, Even I have not gone detail because it will be a very long presentation. This is for IIT Gandhinagar or Kharagpur I did, but it can't be too long for them also to confuse. You are all, of course, with a set of background history how come. The engineering students, how they will understand. So even I briefed in a very brief manner to tell about our heritage. Yeah. Yes. This correct. Yogi is seated and it has got the Shaivite. Sometimes I have not gone deeper into this. It's Kalamukas and that Shaivite sect. This Kalamuka, it patronage. It was well on this one during this period. So the symbols in inscription is a very fascinating area. Especially, of course, there is a paper for our Institute of Archaeology students on symbols in inscriptions. Now, there is no time to show you, especially when you go to the western caves like Nasik, Kuda, Bhaja, many, there may be short inscription. You find different varieties of symbols there. And H. Sarkar and B.M. Pandey, you may note down that they have written a book on the symbols in inscriptions. And they have classified it, how many different marks of swastika comes, how many varieties of siddham, that is symbols in inscription by B.M. Pandey and H. Sarkar. H. Sarkar and B.M. Pandey, it's a small book, very fascinating, very interesting. They have taken all these examples in their book, like representation of a calf and cow, Gardabas, many representations are there in maybe different context. For example, I couldn't show that. Sagora, copper plate, Sagora plate, you have that granary, tree and all. It represents the pictorial way of what is in the text. It is represented by way of symbols. Sagora. उसी में ऊपर है ना ग्रैनरी है ट्री है वो सब दिखाया एंड उसके बारे में वो इंस्क्रिप्शन भी है उसके yes exactly that's the way of नहीं सूर्य चंद्रमा तो हर इसमें मिलते हैं वो सिंपल है दैट इज़ नॉट बिग इंटरप्रिटेशन द इंस्क्रिप्शन रिटर्न आप आचंद्रार्क रहिए वही बताते हैं ना द सिंबल ऑफ सन एंड मून इज़ वेरी कॉमनली इंटरप्रेटेड दिस इंस्क्रिप्शन शुड लास्ट लॉन्ग एज सन एंड मून इज़ देयर दैट इज़ अ सेपरेट थिंग सी हर इंस्क्रिप्शन में यू कैन सी एक जगह में चंद्रमा है एक सूर्य है दैट इज टू गिव परमानेंसी आचंद्रार्क रहित सहितम दैट इट शुड द ग्रैंड शुड रिमेन एज लॉन्ग एज द मून एंड सन लास्ट सो दैट इज द इंटेंडेड दैट दे से इन द इंस्क्रिप्शन ऑल्सो एंड सभी ऊपर भी दिखता है उसका कोई इंटरप्रिटेशन का जगह नहीं उसका वैसे लेना पड़ेगा this should be permanent. They are the witness for this record. For all our action, if somebody may be closing their eyes, but sun and moon are seeing us, and then you have to be conscious to your own self. They are witnessing your actions. Yes. रहेगा this all they have taken from this one of the early inscription. Very interesting. When I take up this, there are so many things, I don't know how much time I'll have. And Satavahana inscription I want to show. This one. This Namo, Na is broken. Namo Bhagavata. Bhagava. Agapagalasa. Agapagalasa. Rayo. Rayo Gotami Putasa. Siri. Vijaya. Sata Kanisa. Vijaya Sata Kanhisa. Varsha. This is the Brahmi numeral. And Gishma Prakhe. Divase. Punime. Purnima. This is Prakrit. So once you are familiar with the letter, this Satavahana Brahmi, you can easily decipher this. So this will take up, if time permits, will definitely, I want to touch upon the Satavahana and Ikshvaku also. It depends on the time, because we are, so scripts abroad. This is, I told how Shankaravata, this is from Borneo, and looks like Pallavas, the influence, and around 5th century, when they could go to the Cambodia, there are many Sanskrit inscriptions which are very close to Pallava Grantha or Kadamba. So the sea route par waise gaye, wo aisa hai. And the beauty is that here you can Shankara, Vatika. This is Mahendra Varman, Mahendra Varmanaha. Can you see here, Mahendra Va? So that, of course, I want to, not only India, even you go beyond, see the SAARC countries. You can review those inscriptions from Sri Lanka. Again, when you go to Burma, you have many records which are very close to our Indian thing. And Gandhar, Afghan is this side. So all the Brihad Bharata, when you take this one, you'll find. So Brahmi traveled along with the other, this one, Burma, Thailand, Indonesia, Laos, Annam, Cambodia. We have scripts which are modified from Brahmi script. So the language part, I will quickly, because like scripts, there are not too many things to be told. But now I am coming to the language. See, the Sanskrit and Prakrit. These are the two major languages that prevailed. Prakrit from 3rd century BC to 3rd century Common Era in North India, and in the south, at least till 4th century or little later, even the early Pallava charters in South India, they got it written in Pallava, in Prakrit language. So Prakrit has a 600 or 700 years history, but whereas Sanskrit, which started little end of the 1st century BC, it continued late medieval period, even Vijayanagar rulers, and though the Kannada or regional languages existed 5th century onwards, whether Tamil is there, whether Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Sanskrit continued. Even if you take a Bengali or anything, even if they wrote in Bengali language also, so Sanskrit continued. Irrespective of the language that is spoken in North India or South, they did some records in regional language also, but Sanskrit also they continued. That's the beauty of the language, it continues a very long history. So this I have summarized it. I think yes, when you take South as a whole, from 5th onwards, the earliest Kannada inscription is from Halmidi. It is 5th century. And Telugu also somewhere around 7th, 8th century, we have Telugu inscriptions. And Tamil also started around 7th century. Malayalam only language which started around 13th or 14th century. Among the southern languages, earlier inscriptions in Kerala area, you find in Vattait or Grantha and Sanskrit. So Malayalam language came much later in the South Indian context. And similarly, when you speak of Marathi, around 11th, 10th, 11th century, even Odia, I was told, around 10th century. So this Bengali, all, around 14th, 15th, or 11th century onwards. You find all the Punjabis and all this 4th, 15th century onwards. So these regional languages came much later. Earlier it was Sanskrit alone. Or there is one phase which local dialect. There are many inscriptions from 13th to 16th century. We have copied from Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, many part of the northern India. We can't pointedly say which language it is written. So scholars, they have normally said it is in local dialect, a very convenient term, because when we read the text, we can't make out. We can't say it is precisely Gujarati or Hindi. So we had to fix it to local dialect. That's what somewhere around 13th to 16th century, at least 300 years, or even much later also you find, it is called local dialect. Hindi, so भाषा तो वही होता है, ये they written in Nagari script, Devanagari और Nagari script and local dialect. Nagari में भी बहुत crude है वो, that not very well settled. So it's a difference. So this so with this I concluding, I have given this one. Yeah. Nice.
हेलो, इस प्रकार हेलो, इस प्रकार पुरालिपि एवं अभिलेख एवं पुरालिपि अध्ययन का जो कार्यशाला चल रही है, उसका तीसरे दिवस का दूसरा सत्र का अंतिम पड़ाव आ चुका है। जो सर ने अभी लेक्चर दिया उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा हम लोग ब्रीफ में आपको थोड़ा समझा दूं। अभी हमने खरोष्ठी लिपि के बारे में पढ़ा, उसके विकास क्रम को समझा। देखा जाए तो पूरी तरह से भारत में जो प्रचलित लिपियां और भाषा, इन दोनों पर फोकस करते हुए सर ने उसके विकास क्रम को बहुत ही संक्षिप्त में बताने का प्रयास किया। हमने जैसे देखा कि खरोष्ठी लिपि का जो प्रसार क्षेत्र था, किस काल में कहाँ था, अशोक के काल में, गांधार के क्षेत्र में, गांधार के क्षेत्र में किस प्रकार, जिसे पॉपुलरली हम ब्राह्मी लिपि को आगे चलकर गांधारी के नाम से संबोधित करने लगे। उसी ठीक है। और जैसे हमने देखा कि किस प्रकार ये ब्राह्मी लिपि का विकास क्रम अशोक काल के बाद शुंग कुषाण काल में किस प्रकार परिवर्तित हुआ, लेखन शैली किस प्रकार बदली, इनके बारे में सर ने थोड़ा सा बहुत ही संक्षिप्त में बताया। भारत में उसके बाद गुप्त काल के साथ ही ब्राह्मी, जिसे हम अलग अलग विद्वानों ने अलग अलग नाम से संबोधित करने लगा, लेट ब्राह्मी के साथ सिद्ध मातृका जिसे हम कहते हैं, कुटिल
नागरी स्क्रिप्ट के साथ संबोधित करने लगे। उसके विकास क्रम पे हमने 3 चरणों में समझा और अलग अलग क्षेत्र में कैसे इसका विकास क्रम रहा। नई भाषाएं, फिर ज़्यादा फोकस सर का इस पे रहा कि किस प्रकार ये लिपियां जिनके अभिलेख हमें मिलते हैं उनकी भाषाएं क्या थी। प्राचीनतम भाषा प्राकृत के रूप में हमें अभिलेख में मिलती है, उसको रिप्लेस किया संस्कृत के द्वारा। दक्षिण भारत में भी यही सिलसिला चलता रहा। मुझे लगता है कि इस क्रम में विस्तार से हम एक एक लिपियों के बारे में, बॉक्स हेडेड, नेल हेडेड स्क्रिप्ट, सिद्ध मात्रिका, इन सब के बारे में आगे आने वाले व्याख्यान में इसके बारे में हम विस्तार से सीखेंगे और समझेंगे। तो आज इस सत्र को हम यहीं समाप्त करते हैं। आप में से किसी का कुछ प्रश्न होगा तो हम पुनः सर से चर्चा कर लेंगे इस बारे में।